Hey there, and welcome back to my channel. So today I have a really exciting video for you guys. I had planned to do this and many of you had requested it to kind of go through all the Givenchy fragrances that I have as part of my collection, to walk you through the ones I like less, and to just kind of do an overview of the brand, obviously, or of the house of the fragrances that I currently own. If you've been watching my channel this past year in 2020, you will know recently and kind of throughout the second half of the year, I went through a huge Givenchy kick. I felt like I could not get enough, and I was really exploring the house because prior to 2020, I didn't really have a lot of experience with the house. I might have had fragrances here and there and samples, but I was never really getting into it, and I don't know what that reason is because now I feel like I can't get enough. And obviously there's a lot of fragrances I don't own from them and don't plan to own. Like, I feel like the Irresistible line or range, I remember not having been interested in it prior to this Givenchy kick. So I don't own any from that line and I don't plan to, but I'm really looking forward to hopeful new releases. And yeah, so we're gonna get right into it. If you haven't subscribed already, don't forget to subscribe, and let's start with the Ange Démon line. So that's kind of the line that last year got me interested in Givenchy. I have 4 from the range to talk with you guys, so we'll go through those and then we'll get to the other fragrances that don't have anything to do with Ange Démon. And for me, that all started with L'Ange Noir. I have really continued to love this ever since I picked it up. I'm really happy I went against the grain when I was trying to get my first one, and I went with this because had I got one of the others, I don't think I would have fallen in love with Givenchy in the way that I did because of this. And I have mentioned this a whole bunch of times with you guys. A bunch of you have gotten it or have it on your wish list, so I hope you enjoy it if you bought it. And this is an eau de parfum that is unlike any other. It is very unique and really, really beautiful. And the 2 things that I feel like stand out in this is the super authentic almond smell. It smells like almond slivers. It really does. Straight out of the bag, it smells like almond slivers, and it doesn't go cherry like the way almond can. It doesn't go super sweet in any way, the way almond is sometimes used. And I feel like it is so rare for especially a designer house to go this, I don't know, pure with it without going too sweet or too gourmand. I really love what they did here. And what's more interesting is how they mix it in with sesame. And I feel like with this, it's a lot more of like a toasted sesame, like seed, like not so much sesame oil, because I know some of you asked that as well. It's just stunning. It's a little powdery, it's soft, but I feel like if you don't like powdery fragrances, you'll still like this. It doesn't get very sweet at all, which I really appreciate. I love sweet fragrances, but I love how they didn't go so safe with this. Like, I feel like it's unique, it's beautiful, it's feminine. It does, and I've said this before, but it performs really beautifully in water. And I know that's insane to say, but during the spring and summer, I wore this swimming a lot, and I feel like it just lingered enough where the sillage when you were swimming is also really beautiful. Just an added note, but I really do love it. The bottle is nice. I do like the Ange Démon bottles. This one, the only thing I will mention, I've mentioned before, the bottom half is like glittery, and it's not been glazed over. So the glitters will get on your hands. They have already. They're not super horrible, but it's definitely noticeable. So that's the only downfall. But other than that, definitely a winner. And I think at the end of this video, I'll also give like my top 3 of all the Givenchys, but this is a real beautiful one. Then we move on to the second from Ange Démon, and that is Ange Démon, just the original, and it's the eau de parfum. Oh my God, you guys, I was expecting to kind of not find another fragrance in this range that I would love as much as L'Ange Noir, but this is a stunner, and it is very, very unique. I feel like Ange Démon or Angel and Demon was a really great name for this. Something with polarity, or, you know, like something versus another thing that were opposites, I felt like that really resonated with the kind of fragrance that this is, because it has a softer, brighter part to it, but it also has like an intriguing, darker part to this fragrance. And it's not like other fragrances that have maybe a duality to them where you can like smell one in the opening and one in the base. I feel like you're smelling both at the same time, depending on like what you kind of fixate on. And some days I'll get more of one, some days I'll get more of the other, but most of the time I'm just kind of getting a little of both all of the time. And I just love it. It's so unique. There's no fragrance in my collection that smells like this. And I feel like I would be able to pick it out if I was doing like a blind test. The same for L'Ange Noir, but this is, I don't know, it's just very mysterious. It's very intoxicating. It's very, very interesting that they decided to go in this kind of area as well. This isn't a new fragrance by any means, but to start off a range, this isn't a safe fragrance either. And I can see how this wouldn't be everyone's cup of tea, but I think everyone would be intrigued by it. I really, really love it. It also performs beautifully. I think the sillage on this is one of the things that made me fall in love with it even more, because it's so beautiful the way it lingers. When you've been wearing it for a long time, it lasts through an entire working day. I feel like both this and L'Ange Noir are also year-long favorites. Like you can really wear them in every temperature and in every type of weather or occasion, and it's never going to feel totally out of place. They're kind of, even though they're not safe bet or safe blind buys for everyone, they're really safe to wear year round. So love that. Then we get into another one from the range called Ange Démon. This is the Le Parfum, and this is the one that comes with Accord d'Illicite, this little mini that you're supposed to use on your pulse points, and then you spray this all over. I'll just say quickly, because you can't buy this separately, personally, I thought this was going to be a lot simpler of a scent. I thought it was just going to smell like a one note accord, and I think it's more complex than that, and it's actually quite beautiful. I've worn it on its own, and had it been, there are days where I definitely prefer this to the actual Le Parfum, but I'll just say that in passing. For the Le Parfum, this is a lot more floral, and I feel like all of these Ange Démons that I've tried really don't have anything to do with one another. They all go in their own direction, I feel, and you're not guaranteed because you like one to like the whole range, but it also gives you an opportunity to try a whole bunch of fragrances that fall within the range, and you know that they're not going to smell so similar that you feel like you just bought the exact same fragrance. So this one's definitely a lot more floral. It's a bit citrusy, and once the citrus dies down, I think I prefer this fragrance. I don't think, it said that it was like a lot more of like a white floral. I feel like it's not just your run-of-the-mill simple white floral. It's more dark and more tart than I was expecting. Also, based on the notes, I would have thought that I would have liked this more than the original, but it's actually quite the opposite. I adore Ange Démon, the original, and the Le Parfum I wear less often. Like today, right now, I'm definitely in the mood for it, and I feel like this could definitely be my scent of the day, and I'd wear it. Maybe I'd pair it up with the Accord d'Illicite, maybe not, but this I have to be more so in the mood for, and I would recommend less so than the other two, which I feel like are straight off the bat like absolute loves. This is like, the original is wafting even right now, and I feel like I'm so enamored by it, but this is nice. It's definitely nice, and I like it, but I don't feel gravitated towards it the way that I do the two others. And then finally, we saved the worst for me for last. I was really recommended Ange Démon Le Secret because it's supposed to be a tea fragrance, and I got the eau de toilette. I think now, having tried it, you guys were probably recommending the eau de parfum for me, and they seem to have different notes and smell differently based on reviews. only because this is a chypre and the eau de parfum, from what I can see, is not a chypre. So I kind of knew that going in. That being said, it is one of the easier chypres to wear. There's definitely that quality to it, but it doesn't permeate throughout the entire wearing process of the fragrance. So I feel like it's one of the definitely the easiest chypres for me to wear and enjoy. It's quite citrusy. It's very tart compared to the others, obviously. I feel like they, as I said, they smell different from one to the other, but this is the most fresh. It's the most citrusy. It's got that element of chypre to it, but it's not too strong. The patchouli, at least on most days, isn't really like smack center in the middle of the fragrance, but it's also my least favorite of the four. I definitely prefer this to many, if not all, my other chypres because it's got less of that chypre quality to it. But out of the Ange Démon fragrances and out of Givenchy in general, I felt like this is the one from this range that I would gravitate to the least. And it also, I feel like, is so restricted in when I would enjoy it. I feel like spring, summer, and I didn't have it during the spring and summer. This will really bloom because in high heat, I just think it'll allow itself to be more of an appealing fragrance. And right now, kind of like dead of winter, cold, snowy weather, I definitely pull towards some summery fragrances or lighter fragrances, but this just isn't one for me. So let me know if you prefer the eau de parfum, if you've tried both, and that's the one you actually recommended for me, because that one is just kind of like an okay for my collection. All right, so then we get to another range, and that's the L'Interdit range. Right now in that range, there's eau de parfum, eau de toilette, and eau intense, and I have two of them. I don't have the eau intense, and I've also done a comparison of these two. So I'll start with the eau de parfum, and I will link the comparison video for more of an in-depth review. But this is the one I had first. I go through that whole backstory with Audrey Hepburn and all that jazz in that video, so I'll skip all that and just say that I don't think between the eau de parfum and eau de toilette, personally, you need both. I do own both, and there's definitely differences within them, but they're not that much, especially if you're just, I don't know, if you're just like an average lover of the scent. I feel like you can definitely get away with just having one and skipping the other and just kind of deciding to see which one you prefer. I had the eau de parfum first. It is definitely stronger and a little bit sweeter and a little bit richer overall than the Interdit Eau de Toilette. The Eau de Toilette is, as expected, a little bit lighter, a little bit brighter, a slightly more fresh, citrusy, but not in any way tart. It just makes it a little bit more, you know, just understandably lighter as they change the packaging. And even though overall the eau de parfum is a stronger fragrance, there is, especially in the opening, somehow, and I've tried this many times, and some of you have agreed that you experience the same thing, the dry down of the eau de toilette sticks around longer than the dry down of the eau de parfum, but overall the eau de parfum is stronger. So, I mean, I go through like nitty gritty differences between in that video between the two. I think in wintertime and colder weather, I've noticed more of a difference, whereas in high heat, I felt like when I did that review, they were even more similar. So that's another thing to point out. I love this scent. I love the way it's grapey and bubblegummy, because the orange blossom gets very grapey in this and the tuberose gets very, very bubblegummy. It's very sweet. It's, for some people, probably cloying, especially the eau de parfum. And understandably, even for me, you can overspray this when it's hot. In colder weather, you can get away with a lot more of this, and I do, but yeah, you can definitely overspray this. Certainly when it's hot, or if you live in a hot climate, I would say to just go for the eau de toilette and still go easy on spraying. In general, these are both the 80 mils, so I kind of just have like 160 mil of a fragrance I enjoy. I might change it up, and I do, and wear this more in colder weather and this more in warmer weather, but note wise and honestly overall scent wise, it's not worth it to get both if you don't need to. I've heard the Intense is a little bit different, more pronounced of a difference because of sesame. Personally, I still don't think I'm gonna get it. There are way more fragrances that I'm interested in trying, but if I ever were to sample it or get a decant, then I will definitely update you guys. Then we get to another two that are in the same range, and that's the Plays. So I'll start with Play for Her. This one, I will say I prefer to Play Intense for her, but overall, this is probably one of my lesser favorite ranges. I was just always intrigued by the bottles, and I never picked them up at their, I don't know, popularity prime. So I decided to get them. This one just genuinely smells a little bit more lighter and a little bit more pink, especially as it stays. I feel like the Heart and Dry Down in this I actually do enjoy. It is pretty and it's feminine, and it just needs like a second to settle. Whereas this, I feel like, and I've read reviews that they don't agree, but this, it smells more purple. Like it just smells a little bit richer, darker, and more patchouli. Definitely more patchouli in this, and I do like them. Again, this kind of goes back to L'Ange de Mon Le Parfum. I just have to be in the mood. It's not one that I can just easy and grab and feel like it suits my everyday. Even this one, like there are definitely days where I'm into it. Like right now I'm smelling it and I feel like I'm more into it than I would be other days, but this is just one that you have to be in the mood for. However, I will say they are getting harder and harder to find, especially these two, because I feel like the white one I've heard only bad things about. So if you are interested in getting a bottle of Play or Play Intense for her and just having them as part of your collection, definitely try to get them now before they kind of disappear forever. All right, and then the last two don't fall into any range, so I'll just go in whatever order they are here. The second last one is Dahlia Divin, and that's from the Dahlia range of Givenchy. I've only ever tried this one. I've talked about it before. I think it's actually very, very underrated. I would expect a lot more people to be interested in this kind of fragrance, especially like not extreme frag heads, like just normal people who enjoy fragrance. I feel like would really like this. It's a very feminine, extremely sweet. It seems like a very marketable, mass appealing feminine scent, and I don't know, maybe because it fell into a range that had a whole bunch of flankers or whatever the reason may be, it just kind of got lost in all of the fragrance releases, I feel, and not enough people talk about this. I feel like a lot of women would be super stoked to have this. It's just a really nice feminine scent. The only thing I would say as like a disclaimer is you have to be into sweet fragrances, because it is sweet and it really doesn't amp down on the sweetness throughout your entire wear. I feel like it's sweet the whole way through from top to base, and you have to be into that. But other than that, I really enjoyed wearing it, and because it's gone discontinued, I got it for an incredible deal last year in 2020, so definitely do pick it up if you're interested and you see it for a good deal. And then finally, the last one is Haute Couture Eau de Toilette. Oh my God, have I gone through a journey with this. This fragrance, you guys, I know I hauled it and I don't think I talked about it after that, but oh my God, it really does smell exactly like going out. Like it smells like the entire experience of going out and being in a club or a bar and smelling like perfume and just like the environment and like secondhand cigarette smoke on your skin, coming home like near the end of the night kind of scent, where the sweetness of your perfume and like muskiness has mixed in with cigarette smoke and alcohol. It literally smells like the entire experience of going out, and I'm just so blown away, because this is also not a new fragrance at all. I'm just so blown away that it goes through so many, I don't know, phases, because I feel like this is really, really unique. And if we ever reach that point where we are going out again the way we used to, this is gonna be my first going out fragrance, because it just is so nostalgic and atmospheric. Like, I feel like that's the perfect word for this. It just reminds me of like many, many experiences and just nights out and that kind of like happy bliss right before you're set to come home, like that last hour of the night, I think, or the last half hour. Anyways, I love this. I'm so glad to have a huge 100 ml bottle, because even as we're spending more time at home, I just get in the mood for this so often and I'll wear it. So top 3 that I would recommend if you were to only get 3 fragrances from this entire range as your like first 3 from Givenchy, I would say L'Ange Noir, Ange Démon, the original, and the Eau de Parfum of L'Interdit. These are the 3 I think really stand out to me as being like just easy enough to wear, but just interesting actually enough. And while I blind bought these 2, I had already tried this, I don't necessarily think they're mass appealing in any way, but they are super, super great. And I feel like if you can get your hands on them, this you can definitely get a sample. These 2 are really not that expensive. I would get your hands on them. They are the ones that stand out to me as being the most like first purchase worthy. And if I had to start over with my Givenchy, those are the first 3 I'd get. But since these 2 fall in the same range, I wanted to give an honorable mention. And if you were to only get 1 from that range and you didn't want to get the other, then Haute Couture Eau de Toilette would be my honorable mention. This again, I don't think is mass appealing for everyone, but oh my God, is it special, and I've really enjoyed wearing it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.